Imagine yourself swimming, snorkeling in the South Pacific. You're floating along. You've got your mask on. You've got your snorkel, so you're breathing through the snorkel, and you're floating there, and you're swimming, and it's beautiful, clear water, totally clear, and you can see all kinds of fish, bright, shining fish of all different shapes and colors. It's like swimming inside of an aquarium. It's just amazing. And then you've got this beautiful coral all along, and you're just enjoying yourself. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself looking straight into the face of a moray eel. It's like this long, and it's looking straight at you. And it's like you're looking into this row of razor sharp saw teeth, and these uh, trouble these. I don't know how to describe the eyes. The eyes have they have bad. They're troublemakers. They want you can just see the trouble in their eyes, and it's like and they're ugly. They're frightening to see, and they're looking. Suddenly, you find yourself looking straight into the face of one, sticking out of the coral, and it's 3 feet away or 2 feet away, and you go, ah! You swim backwards to get away from that thing, and uh, and anyway, it's a frightening moment because those moray eels are known for just those razor sharp saw-like teeth that they have. They're known for just clinging, clinging, to their victims and then never letting go. And they're very dangerous. So you don't want to go near those things. Similarly, a narcissist can that's a little more extreme than what you'd think of a narcissist. A narcissist is much more subtle than that. Well, they aren't going to hopefully not do any physical attack or anything. But narcissists are known for hurting people and doing damage to uh, their victims. And there's one story, an amazing, wonderful story by Alice Walker called "Everyday Use," and I'll just read. It's about the young mother and her daughter in the South, and they're very humble people. They live in a shack, and I mean, it, they have a house, but it depends on who in the story. By some characters in the story would consider it a shack and be ashamed of it. But suffice to say, it's a very humble dwelling. You have to go outside to go to the bathroom. There's maybe no electricity. It's an old it's an old it's kind of looks like an old shack, but it's not the first time. Well, anyway, you got these wonderful people living there. They're beautiful people. This mother and daughter, the young daughter, Maggie. Here's a description of her. It says, and the reason I'm bringing this up is they're about to have a run-in with a narcissist, and so I'm going to talk about a fictional narcissist, and then I'm going to talk about how to not be a narcissist, given some quick 7 points. So anyway, Maggie will be nervous until after The mother says Maggie will be nervous until after her sister goes. She will stand hopelessly in corners, homely and ashamed of the burn scars down her arms and legs. So this poor girl has got very low self-esteem. She's very shy, intensely shy, and afraid of her sister. And she's going to be, standing in corners and extremely nervous until her sister goes away because she doesn't feel comfortable around her sister, which tells you a little something about her sister and the effect of a narcissist on other people, particularly vulnerable people. Now, the description of the mother, who's the narrator, is quite fascinating. Also, it kind of gives you a sense of who these people are and how they're really the opposite of the other sister, uh, Dee, who's gone away to live in Chicago and is totally different from them. She's totally different from them. But the mother, just to give you a sense of who these people are, the mother, she writes, I'm a large, big boned woman with a rough man working hands. In the winter, I wear nightgowns to bed and overalls during the day. I can kill and clean a hog as mercilessly as a man. My fat keeps me hot in zero weather. I can work outside all day, breaking ice to get water for washing. I can eat pork liver over the open fire minutes after it comes out steaming from the hog. One winter, I knocked a bull calf straight in the brain between the eyes with a sledgehammer and had the meat hung up to chill before nightfall. So these are humble people. They're also living off the land. They're living off, if they don't they don't go to the store to get some meat. They have to kill it themselves and do the dirty work. And so she's a tough woman, and spits chewing tobacco, and very humble people. And so now the sister is going to be coming home from Chicago, who's totally different from them. And the mother, to give you a sense, like when the house burned down before the sister went away, the other sister D was absolutely happy that it burned down. She hated that house because it was it was nothing in her eyes. It was something to be ashamed of. And so the mother says, "Why don't you just dance around the ashes?" These are the ashes that burned her sister. Uh, I wanted to ask her. She had hated the house that much, so she sees her daughter as um, lacking consideration and compassion, which is uh, lack of understanding and consideration for other people's feelings is a symptom of narcissism. So anyway, another thing the mother says about Dee, who's just about to show up. She used to read to us without pity, forcing words, lies, and other folks' habits, whole lives upon us, sitting trapped and ignorant beneath her voice. So there's a sense of superiority, another narcissist trait, and a critical spirit that she has towards her mother and sister. So she's just about to arrive home. And how do you think her sister feels about it? How do you think her sister, who's so shy and so vulnerable and is going to be cringing in the corner? So, um, but she's not just, Dee is not just critical of her mother and sister. The mother says, when she was courting Jimmy T, she didn't have much time to pay to us. She turned all her fault-finding power on him. So this is like a personality trait that goes out in all directions towards all people, or at least perhaps many people. So the sister arrives. She arrives in a big convertible Cadillac or something like that. A big. It's quite a scene. A glamorous entry on this old homestead. And then it says, Maggie attempts to make a dash for the house in her shuffling way, but I stay her with my hand. Come back here, I say, and she stops and tries to dig well into the sand with her toe. So you can see Maggie is trying to, cringe backwards, like her sister's a moray eel or something. She just wants to get away from her. And it's sad that that's the kind of impact that kind of behavior has. Because Maggie's obviously been hurt and doesn't want to be hurt more. So anyway, the daughter shows up. They get up, caught up in old times, and the sisters move on to much bigger and better things, and is basically ashamed and embarrassed about her and kind of pities her mother and daughter. And then she sees something. She goes, "That's what I need. It's that churn top." She wants the churn top, which is used to to make turn that cow's milk into cream, and it's like they need it in order to live. This is like part of the homestead, and they live off this. These people have to make their own food, and so but no, I want that as a relic for my as a decoration for my apartment. So she claims it, and I don't know how Maggie and the mother are going to get their cream and what they're going to do without the churn top. And then Maggie or Dee, who now calls herself Wangjuro because she's got into some new movement in Chicago, some cultural movement, and she sees something else. She opens up a trunk and she finds a couple of quilts, and she says, "These are mine. She says, "I want these," and the mother says, "No, why don't you pick those other two? Those two, not those two. Pick the other ones over there. You can take those." No, I want these. She wants these. She wants these particular ones. Maybe they're a little older ones. They're the handmade ones that the grandmother made. No, she only wants these. So they go. The mother finally has to admit. She goes, "Well, the truth is, I promised to give those quilts to Maggie for when she marries John Thomas. So this is going to be Maggie's wedding gift. And then D10 gasped like a bee had stung her. Maggie can't appreciate these quilts. She'd probably be backwards enough to put them to everyday use. So, wow. There's this sense of entitlement that she's showing, this superiority, willingness to take advantage of her own sister and to take away her wedding gift just so she could have another decoration for her apartment. Overinflated sense of self-importance. So all this is going on, and it's an example of a fictional narcissist. Now, Dale Carnegie, who wrote the famous book How to Win and Influence People, says basically people are not interested in you. They're not interested in me. They're interested in themselves. He's talking about everybody. That doesn't mean everybody's a narcissist by any stretch. But people do tend to be self-interested. And let's face it, people have insecurities. They have problems. They have pains and heartaches, broken hearts, broken lives, insecurities, fears, and they're self-conscious and things like that, and all kinds of other issues. So people are focused on themselves and their own issues. And so that's why just because people are self-centered, it doesn't mean that they're bad people. Maybe some people, it gets to the point where it's a bad habit, but they're probably not narcissists. Most people are narcissists. 3/4 of people, this comes from Dale Carnegie, 3/4 of people say that are hungering and thirsting for sympathy. These are hurting people. Most people have problems. They're hurting and they just want some sympathy, someone to acknowledge them and show some empathy. And so the solution to this is simple. Talk to people, according to Dale Carnegie, as he puts it. Here's a quote: talk to people about themselves, their education, their family, their concerns, their business, their hobbies and opinions. I think that came from Carnegie. It's possible it slipped in there from another source. But anyway, instead of becoming self-focused, we focus on other people and focus on them. That's how to not be a narcissist, is to focus on other people and show empathy and compassion for other people and what they're going through, and be willing to listen. People thirst for approval, so look for the good in people. And we all have faults. God in the Bible says, my strength is made perfect in weakness. So God actually sees our faults as something beautiful and special and wonderful, and has compassion for us, and his strength so it actually attracts him. God is actually attracted. My strength is made perfect in weakness. So we can almost rejoice in our suffering and in our faults, because that's how God sees it. Great people, another quote, this another idea from Carnegie: great people with animation and enthusiasm just smile. It shows that you care about them. People want to be heard, so listen. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Be sympathetic with other people's ideas. Don't correct them, or tell, or avoid giving opinions. Is a good idea. So anyway, just to wrap up, Narcissa Whitman is a real person. She was not a narcissist, ironically, but she was a settler who, during the settling days, moved to Walla Walla, Washington, and she was living there, but her daughter drowned in a tragic accident. So she was heartbroken and fell into depression. But then she managed to break out of it. And the way she did it, they were nearby was the Cayuse and Nez Perce Indian tribes, and there were these in the orphanage. There were these 7 orphans who needed someone to care for them and to teach them, to educate them. So Narcissa took this upon herself, and she loved those children, and she devoted herself to them and helping these orphans and teaching them. And despite the tragedy of her own life, these children became the beautiful song of her life. And so that's how we cannot be a narcissist. We can look to Narcissa Whitman as an example. So thanks for watching, and God bless.